Hey everybody, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 74. My name is Rico. I'm here with my co-host,
Dane Cody.
We get together once a week, talk about video games, movies, TV, games, tech. I already said games, didn't I? Girls, guns, drugs, debauchery, the ballet, and most importantly, our trip to PAX West last week.
Yeah, this is pretty much going to be a bit of the PAX cast.
There hasn't been a lot of news that isn't really PAX related. I don't know. There's a couple big things that happened this week. The PlayStation PS4 Pro unveiling,
which we will talk about in the news section.
And also some other news. But I guess the majority of this is going to be, instead of your normal what you've been playing, it's going to be what you've been paxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
So much paxing.
So, Dane, before we get into this.
Yeah.
Are you drinking some of that nice alcohol that you smuggled across the border? I mean, paid for at the duty free?
Dalwhinnie 15-year scotch, baby. Oh, yeah.
Is that the one you picked up when we were down there?
It's one of them, yeah. It's
nice.
Delicious. So good.
I did not pick up any because I let you get 2 bottles because I'm not a huge drinker. Especially shit I drink's cheap. I don't need to get it duty free.
Yeah, no, it's delicious.
If you listened to us last week, you heard our on the road PAX road trip.
Our roadcast.
Our antique PAX road show. If you bared with us and listened to that episode, thank you very much. Sorry if the noise bothered you. Not offended if you did not listen. But I am. That was a lot of fun. It turned out a lot better than I expected when I went back and listened to it. That was before we even got there, so...
Yeah, that was our on the way down to PAX cast.
Basically, the show started right away. We got in on Thursday, picked up our badges, had some sushi, can't remember what else we did. Just some other random
checked into the hotel, got ourselves prepped,
got ourselves settled, and basically, we already had an appointment that night to go see Rock Band VR on Oculus as an Oculus exclusive, and your buddy Mark came and met us.
He did.
He basically showed up, and we're like, "We gotta go now." And he's like, "Okay."
Yep. And short and sweet, and he got in there.
Yeah, everyone was super awesome. Actually, before I even get anywhere, I gotta thank everyone, that arranged appointments for us. Everyone from Ubisoft, Nintendo, obviously Oculus.
Adult Swim.
Yeah, Adult Swim. Square Enix.
Guys over at Airship Syndicate.
Jeez.
Oh man, the list goes on and on.
And on.
Sony and Microsoft and like everybody that we were able to get hands on good stuff with.
Yeah, it was really awesome. Everyone was really cool. If we didn't have a proper appointment made before arriving at the show, people just were really nice at making time for us. It was really awesome. So you know who you are.
Absolutely.
I have sent emails out to most people. And still working on that. If you haven't gotten a thank you yet, you will. Yeah, so we went and showed up at this bar, what is it called? Triple Door, I think it was. Literally like a block away from our hotel.
Yeah, 3 doors or something like that.
Which was really nice. And it's like a concert rock, well, I don't know, like just a concert venue. But it had these like cool little VIP booths and a bar upstairs is where this event was closed to the public. And they were doing hands-on demos with Rock Band VR and these little cool VIP booths above like the concert.
Yeah,
apparently,
it was really cool.
They had like a 2-way mirror, like we could see out, but no one could see in. And
right.
They had the audio turned off. There was actually a concert going on when we were there. It was really swanky. Like they had food and drinks. It was really cool. And then we got to try Oculus with Rock Band VR. No,
I just want to preface this with like when we showed up there, I remember talking to Mark and I was like, both of us were kind of like, Rock Band in VR, like how is that really like I don't know, like it just seemed like one of those things, like how is this going to be great? Like how is this going to like work great in VR? I think was how both of us were kind of looking like.
No one had really an idea.
Yeah, and we walked in there and, you know, we got like a quick sort of rundown by the developers.
They demoed it.
Yeah, they put it all on and they demoed it. So we kind of, you know, and you're watching it and you're going like, okay.
That's Rock Band in VR, all right.
That's a thing that you're doing in VR.
I had no idea what he was doing.
Me neither.
Like, he was strumming and moving his hands, and I'm like, what does he know what to be doing right now? I don't understand. Because this is the thing with VR, you can't see you see, but you don't see.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's totally true.
You're not seeing the virtual reality.
You're watching it on a screen, but you're not getting the experience that obviously they're getting.
No.
And so we went over it with them, and then finally they put us in.
Yeah, we all got to play, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Lucky bugger Mark got to sneak in all our demos. His mind was blown. It was his first experience with VR. So basically, you slip on the Oculus. They hand you a guitar. If you have a PS4 guitar, that will work. Apparently, the Oculus Touch controllers are going to ship with a little attachment for the head of the guitar. Because this game requires the Oculus Touch. It attaches at the end of the guitar, and it senses, I guess, your hand positions, movements, the tilting of the guitar, and so forth.
Yeah.
Obviously, the guitar has the buttons and stuff and can sense that itself, but the Oculus just gives it just a better,
I think it really
sensitivity and helps with your motion and your movement around the stage, because you can move around a little bit.
Yeah, and you can move the guitar, and the way that you move the guitar in VR, you can see it that way.
You can move the guitar in any direction, and obviously with your face being obstructed, you can tell where the guitar is because it's so well represented with the help of the Oculus Touch.
Right.
So, basically you slip it on and boom, you're holding the guitar in your hands, you're on stage. Well, actually, you're in a little demo room before you get on stage where you can practice. There was a little tutorial they ran us through.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could choose your song. Start the game, you're on the stage, crowd's in front of you, bandmates are around you. The song doesn't start until you actually turn to your drummer, which is kind of cool. And then he starts the song off. And basically, the way the game works is it's more timing based than following a highway. You're striking chords, combos of chords. And they were saying there's no fail mode. It's just, you can do whatever you want. But on the neck of the guitar in VR, if you look down at the guitar, it actually shows you the chords that it wants you to be hitting. And, depending on the tempo of the song, you change your strumming. And it's not like Rock Band where you just strum down and hit the buttons. It's more like playing real guitar. You go up and down.
Yeah, you're strumming on both sides.
Yeah, and you're matching the beat of the song, that portion of the song, and it'll go up or down depending where the song is and what guitar portion you're playing. And, you get a little warning like a like little vibration in the neck of the guitar you feel that counts down when you're going to switch chords.
And the cool thing about that is that the whole reason you're essentially switching chords is for points.
Yeah, the better your timing, the smoother the transitions, you are building like a combination up. You can still screw up, but not a fail punishment will happen.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound terrible. Like,
no, it doesn't.
When you play regular Rock Band, when if you screw it up, it's like you hear it in the game. It drives, you could not want to play a song pretty quickly if or be around if somebody's doing poorly when in regular Rock Band when you're playing or when somebody else is playing. In this, the cool thing is that when you change chords, you actually hear the chords in the game changing but it doesn't sound like you're screwing up if you're playing a different chord than what, you know, you're maybe supposed to at the moment. And in fact, changing your chords from one thing to another and back again actually garners you more points, which is super cool.
If you can do it in with the proper rhythm of the strumming.
Exactly. But I mean, the thing that's incredible and that I cannot even describe to anyone is the fact that you feel like a rock star.
Yeah, if you played Rock Band, and, you know, take this with a grain of salt, we're super excited because we got to try this cool new thing.
Yeah.
If you played Rock Band, it's fun with your friends. If you remember, though, back in the Guitar Hero days, it was primarily single-player or score-based verses, right? You didn't have that band thing.
Oh, for sure.
Something I used to do with Guitar Hero, and I was telling the devs of Rock Band, and, you know, they're the same devs that actually made Guitar Hero before they eventually left and became Harmonix and so forth, long story short. Anyway.
Right.
I would play Guitar Hero on my PS2 back in the day, my old place in the basement, crank up the amplifier and be like playing Iron Man or Smoke on the Water. And I just felt like I'm a freaking rock star. I can't play guitar. I freaking suck. I'm useless. But it felt fun to pretend. This is kind of like the next level completion of that.
Well, yeah, because now
you're on
not
the
only
stage.
are you know, playing this guitar and it feels cool because it's in your hand and you feel like you're doing something. But as you're looking around, you're in VR and you're looking at all these people. You're at the front of a crowd. There's a big crowd. You're in a club or you're in a big, you know, auditorium or whatever.
The crowd's grooving to your playing. They're singing the song. You can see the looks on their faces.
They're getting into it. If you do really well and your points are going up and up, they're like getting into it and people are like moshing and headbanging and like, you know, getting super into it.
And you can move around the stage and then your bandmates like react to you, which is really cool. Like I was going over to the singer and looking at her and then she'd start like singing in my face and like leaning into me and like dancing. Dane discovered a little secret.
Yeah, you can totally, if you go to the area right beside the drummer, you can actually lean your guitar over and use the guitar to hit the cymbals on the drum kit.
Yeah, I did.
Which is super cool. You feel like you're reaching out, you touch it in the game, and it's such a cool feeling. Like you're a part of it. Like you're there and it's, you know, it's incredible. It is super, super incredible. It was funny because I walked into that demo
not
feeling
expecting
like
much. You're just
I don't know how
cool.
this is gonna like, you know, how on earth are we gonna play Rock Band in VR? Like it's kind of a you know, a multiplayer thing now, and now you're gonna like put me in, you know, essentially single player in VR. Like how is that gonna work? And it's awesome. It was great.
They were saying, the devs were saying how they wanted to make something different that you could have fun with that puts you in the environment of being like, you know, the stage presence, being in the middle of the band, playing the music and getting that feeling of being on stage. They didn't want you to just stare down at your guitar at a highway of the notes coming down like you normally do with Rock Band. They wanted to give you more freedom so that you can, you know, rock out and have fun with it. Yet there is still a system of scoring. You know, you still have the overdrive. And the coolest part of the whole thing is when you do the overdrive, this amazing glow goes out over the crowd. It's super trippy. These lasers and lights and beams of color start shooting out of your guitar. And it's just like a super cool, like, visualizer that you are in control of.
And it's incredible too, because you can do the regular thing where you lift your guitar up to get it working. But like you can do all kinds of other cool things. Like you can drop down on your knees like you're, you know, like a real rock star would with, you know, and get it going that way, which I can vouch for works.
Yeah, Dane was rocking out. They really liked that. I was really into it too, as well, obviously.
The thing is that like you are so immersed in it.
Mm-hmm.
You get absolutely in it.
It was really cool.
And you forget, I think, that, you're in a studio with a bunch of people watching you. Like, I was super just like into it and rocking out, man. Like, it was incredible.
Was fun. It was just a neat experience. It was really like putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Meanwhile, there was like a kind of fun game there as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If you're looking for the expert mode, hit all the notes, kind of thing, that's not what this is. It's something new, and they are still working on it and adding features. There's a career mode they were saying, that you and your band are progressing through. It's the same characters. You travel with the same band. It was really fun. I thought it was really cool. Again, I went in there no expectations. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What they've delivered, I think, is just a really fun game. And that's exclusive to Oculus. So I guess you can use that Revive, and probably it'll work on the Vive. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Considering it uses the touch. The guitars are Bluetooth. They got a new guitar coming. I imagine it'll be compatible with PC and PS4. But if you've got the existing new PS4 one, that'll work if your PC has Bluetooth.
Yeah. And it sounds like there's going to be like a fairly full song list, like what you would expect in a regular, Guitar Hero game or a Rock Band game.
Yeah, it was really cool. So that was like our first night before I even got to the show. Mark's mind was blown because he had just used VR for the first time.
Yeah.
And
my mind was blown. I mean, I didn't want to stop playing it. I honestly
really cool.
didn't. I was super lucky. I think I ended up playing every single song that they had in the demo.
Yeah, I only played 3, and what was there, 5 or 6 songs?
There was 6.
Was there 6? Yeah. Yeah, it was freaking awesome. I wish I got more. I only had some photos of us. I should have taken some video of us.
Oh, if you want, hit up my Twitter. You can watch a video of me rocking out on the guitar. We should
probably share that on our Facebook page so people can see that.
I maybe will.
And Matt, the devs, made it very easy, having the same name. So we screwed that up. Those guys were both awesome.
Yeah, huge shout out to those guys. That was great.
They were freaking awesome. And it was really cool because they shared with us that all the lighting was done by Dawn, one of their coworkers who we actually met last year when we got the Rock Band 4 demo. And
yes.
That was really cool to hear that she was really influential. And they basically said the game looked like crap until she fixed it, which is really cool. That's awesome that she's got such a wicked skill set or that she's building on it. That's wicked. That makes me happy. Everyone was cool and the game was fun. So that's Thursday. Friday. Media hour. First thing in the morning.
PlayStation VR.
Mad bull rush to the floor. Basically, Sony never does appointments and neither does Microsoft. So we've kind of gotten into the pattern of just, I guess we're just going to go to the Sony booth because we're not waiting all day long. But to say the truth, Sony kind of has a solution for that, which I kind of wish more people had. So we went to the Sony booth and I almost said Nintendo booth. And the thing is, it was kind of disappointing that you couldn't just go to a VR demo. You got in line and you just got what you got. Because I would have liked to have played Farpoint, which had the gun.
That was, they had to kind of set the scene for people. They had what was it? 1, 2, 3, 5 stations.
No, they had 8.
Yeah, 8 stations, but they were in rows essentially.
8 stations and 7 games or 5 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.
Either way.
5 games because there was 2 for Batman and 2 for Farpoint.
Yeah,
and then they had Riggs.
2 for Riggs as well.
Did they have 2 for Riggs?
Yeah,
Riggs, PlayStation Worlds, some other game I have no idea. I already forget. Rez and Psychonauts.
Yes.
My first demo happened to be Rez VR, which if you remember Rez is classic techno, funky, visual, trippy shooter. When did it come out on first? PlayStation? PlayStation 1?
I want to say the PlayStation 2. Wasn't it one of the launch titles for PlayStation 2?
I don't think it was a launch title. But it was old. It's an old school game, and it has a huge cult following just because of the wicked music. It has an awesome soundtrack, and it's just it's an on-rails shooter that basically reacts rhythmically to your shooting, and the enemies kind of create the music. As you shoot, you get like hi-hats and cymbals and like drum beats and so forth. And it all, when you get into a really cool rhythm, along with the music in the background, it just makes this really neat like melody of all the sounds coming together in this super trippy, like it's, what do you call it? Like Lawnmower Man? It's like all neon and gritty polygonal graphics.
Yeah.
It's got a very unique
it's like
style.
a wireframe style.
So, anyway, they've got a VR version coming. Yeah, Dreamcast.
Yeah, man.
And then PlayStation 2. That's what it came out on first.
Yep.
Dreamcast and PlayStation 2. 2001.
Yeah, it was so it wasn't quite launch title, but it was pretty close. It was not too long after it came out.
So in the PlayStation VR version, you aim with your head, and you move with your controller. So you can move you can move left and right, and then you can control the camera if you want to like rotate behind you, because obviously you can't swivel your head 360 degrees.
Right.
If you were standing up, I'm sure you could do that. Or if you were in a swivel chair, probably.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. You
could do that without having to get up. And it was really cool. It's unnecessary, but with the headphones on, that game has amazing music. So having the headphones on and like being in that world, like this is one of those games that you do some extracurricular activities to really enjoy. So imagine that with the added effect of VR. It's going to be very trippy, if you know what I mean.
Oh man, I feel like that would be almost a bad time for people, but
too much?
Yeah, like too much stimulation.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. I don't think it's very expensive, so I might have to. That might be one of the games I pick up. I don't know. We'll see.
Fair enough.
And then what did you play while I was playing that?
I played PlayStation Worlds. There was 2 demos. So essentially PlayStation Worlds is like kind of like a glorified
the pack-in disc with the bundle.
Yeah, it's going to have a bunch of different things on it. So for example, you're going to be able to play like the Getaway demo or whatever it's called, the one that you played last year where you were shooting with out in and out of the car and stuff like that. That's going to be included. There's going to be a few other ones. One of the ones that I played, I don't actually remember the name of it, but it was, you essentially are strapped to this chair and you're supposed to like merge with a, like kind of like an AI that's also kind of got like mech legs. So that's sort of, so you're essentially strapped down in the chair like you are, it was a seated demo. And then all of a sudden, like, you know, the facility that you're in starts getting attacked and you start, you know, walking, you know, you start cruising around in this chair because it's got, you know, the legs kind of move almost like spider's legs. So you can like cruise around and it's kind of like a mech suit, if you will. But it can also like sort of fly and you know, the facility that you're in starts getting blasted apart and you gotta like fly off and, you know, shoot some stuff and you land on an asteroid and you start, you know, cruising around and, you know, obviously the demo kind of ends in a, you know, little bit of a, you know, a big ship shows up and, you know, they leave you on the cliffhanger for the demo. So it wasn't too long, but I mean, obviously it's, you know, it's to show what's cool and what's fun and how you can move and, you know, it's a good sort of starter into VR. And then the other one that I played was actually, it was like a game of Pong, but it was on a 3D plane, obviously, where you use where you're looking moves a paddle, and the ball comes towards you, and you have to put your paddle in front of the ball so that it hits your paddle and goes back at your opponent on the other side. And you can bounce it off the walls or the ceiling or the floor, and it's kind of like a cylindrical, well, no, it's more like a rectangular room in between you and the other player. And, you know, the ball, of course, gets faster, and you can kind of like use the paddles to sort of spin it and do bank shots and stuff like that. And the idea is that it's, you know, kind of like a sport, and you are playing against people, and you hear cheers, and, you know.
That you were playing against AI, right? That was.
Yeah, I was playing against AI. I mean, obviously, the theory being that, you know, maybe a game like that could come out and be multiplayer. But the one that I played was just, you know, versus the AI.
So
but it was a lot of fun.
These are very much like demos.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. They're totally like proof of concept. They are the epitome of experiences. Something to
It's too bad you didn't
strap
get to do
somebody in and, you know, show them sort of this is what VR can be like.
Too bad you didn't get to do the getaway one, which is the one I did last year, which was
I know. They didn't even have that one enabled in the demo that I was looking at. So, which was too bad.
Did you get to choose what you wanted to do?
Well, there was only 2 enabled on that.
Oh,
in
so
that,
it
but
showed
you
you
could sort of
showed you the menu, and you could choose those.
Yeah, and you could sort of choose. So
those
you
are
could
totally,
see the other ones.
Those are total proof of concept more than anything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh man, the getaway demo last year I really liked. I don't know. I feel like the visuals in the PlayStation VR were better this year. Though I talked to one of the guys, and he said it's the same headset as last year. I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I swear stuff looked less grainy than it did last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I could not say. I mean, without having, you know, my last year experience in front of me, you know, a year is a long way to wait.
I just remember because that was the big thing with when we did the PSVR. I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool, but it's grainy.
Right.
But I didn't notice that graininess. After that, not quite in the right order because I did something else between coming back to the VR booth. I got to do the Batman VR.
I hate you.
Which was pretty wicked. And it was a total teaser.
This was honestly the only thing that, like, not to sort of sidetrack us, but like you said earlier, it was kind of one of these situations where you walked up and you got whatever demo was sort of free.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was going to get the Res demo again, and I said, I told the guy, I'm like, oh, I've already done that one. And then in that instance, he's like, okay, well, we'll just wait for whatever's up next. And
so they let somebody else go there.
Yeah, someone else went in front of me, and then Psychonauts was like finishing at the same time. I'm like, oh, please don't be Psychonauts. Please don't be Psychonauts. Thank God the guy in Batman was like taking the helmet off, and I'm just like, oh, thank God. So I got to do Batman. I'm Batman. Basically,
you're Batman?
You're Batman.
What?
You're in the freaking Bruce Wayne mansion. Alfred's coming up to you, talking to you. I can't even remember because I was like, oh my God. And basically you're sitting at a piano and, you know, he gives you a key and you open the key, the cover on the piano and you flip it up. And you're doing this all with Move controllers. You got 2 Move controllers in this game.
Right.
And,
so you can really reach out and touch life.
Turn it, insert the key, turn it, lift up the lid, and then you just hit a key. And then the floor starts to open up. And
nice.
You are going down this tunnel or elevator into the Batcave. But it's like a really slow, long process because as you go down, it stops and it's Oracle, right? Is the computer voice?
Well,
I know who Oracle is, Gordon's daughter, but the Bat computer has a female voice and is talking to you.
I'm sure it's Oracle.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I don't know. We could be wrong. Whatever. Grill us online. Give us shit later.
We'll call it computer.
She gets you to put on the Bat gauntlets. And then you put on...
Awesome.
This order might be effed up. And then Actually, I think you put on the suit first, and then you put the gauntlets on, and then you put the helmet on, then you put the utility belt on.
Nice.
And then you're testing your...
So you look down and you actually see you clipping
look
in the
down
utility
and
belt.
you just got that freaking ripped, like, Arkham Knight Batman armor suit on. So when you look down, you see, like, this big bat symbol, and you're in the suit, and your arms are like your hands are like, got the bat gauntlets on and the gloves and so forth. And then you pick up the grapple gun, and you pick up... what else do you pick up? You pick up this other weapon, and you put them on your tool belt, and she gets you to shoot some targets to calibrate them. And your utility belt has the batarangs, and you're throwing batarangs to activate stuff. So you're doing this step by step. It goes down a floor, and then you do the next thing, and the next thing, and then you're, I'm Batman. And then you go down to the Bat Cave, and it opens up, and it's just like, oh my god.
And you feel pretty amazing.
You feel pretty badass. And then you get to the bottom, and the lady's ripping my helmet off, and I want to murder her.
Oh.
She's like, sorry, that's the end of the demo. I'm like, no.
But I want to still be Batman.
So I don't know what the game is, what goes from there. It's $30 online.
All I know is it was awesome so far.
The little bit that I did play
played
was pretty freaking cool. Like, honestly, the coolest thing about these things is just you're that person. You're in that world, and it's so immersive when you lose yourself to it. You know, it's not perfectly rendered. It's not like crystal clear 1080p 4K real life, graphics. It's still a video game.
Right.
But the effect of just being in the middle of it is just so cool.
Well, and it's the closest that we've ever been to being these characters.
Being like a superhero or being a rock star.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the closest we've ever been. Before it was you're sitting on your TV pretending to be that person. Now you're looking around, and everywhere you look, you're immersed. It's all around you, That's what's so cool.
Yeah. That was cool. I really wanted to try Farpoint with the guns, with the gun attachment, but...
Yeah, none of us got to try that, unfortunately.
I made another appointment to go back, but then they were totally backed up, and at that point my patience was really short. I didn't want to wait. Because I've played enough VR games with, hey, I've got a gun in my hand, so I don't see how that would have been much different.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd heard good things about people that had played it, so.
It looked cool.
Yeah.
Did you go back and do another VR demo at that point?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Not from PlayStation, at least.
Our buddy Mark did the Psychonauts demo.
He was pretty disappointed with it.
He was not impressed. He said it was super janky. It's super early. It's not done.
Yeah.
And we both did not at the same time, but we both did the Horizon Zero Dawn booth. Basically, Horizon is probably going to be Sony's big next gigantic IP, up there with like Uncharted.
If our hands-on is
the future,
to be believed.
Future robot dinosaurs, caveman. You've probably seen the trailers by now.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1,000 years in the future, and we've essentially destroyed ourselves.
Because the world's not like it's not Fallout post-apocalyptic, but it's the human race has been, taken back to the Stone Ages essentially, and these robot creatures have kind of taken over. Man, you walk in, they do this video demo where he walks us through essentially the area you get to play, and then some. He demonstrates essentially like a boss fight, a questing system, the dialogue tree options. If you're not familiar with Horizon, it's a third-person open world, basically. He said open world.
Yeah.
Action RPG. So, a la Gears of War, except for not guns. It's bow and arrow and melee combat focused. There's sneaking, stealth. You've got all kinds of cool high-tech gadgets. You can track and mark enemies.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, like, it's 1,000 years in the future where we've essentially been taken back to the Stone Age, but because obviously there's, we created crazy technology at the same time, but it more or less destroyed us, but we've got little bits and pieces of it, so it allows the developers some neat freedom where they can kind of, they can bring some of the things that you would expect from a video game into it, and it kind of makes sense, like tracking and, you can sort of
mark enemies
and things like that. And it kind of makes sense in the basis of the game and not just like, hey, this is a video game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
So they do their demo, obviously a lot more stuff than what we could play. It just looks fantastic.
It's
demoing
one of the prettiest games.
Demoing a bunch of the mechanics in this game. We get in, demo's done, you get into a big room. I think they had like 24 kiosks or something in there. So they were just banging people through there, which is awesome because this is a hugely anticipated title. So I'm hoping a lot of people got their hands on it. This game is beautiful. It feels fabulous. The controls are great. You open up in this like valley. You're on top of this big rock structure, and you can slide down this rope that's going from the top down to the ground. They give you a little couple quests on the side of the screen. They want you to take out some watchers. They're watchers, right?
Yeah.
And then override. I can't remember the name of that creature now. It looks like a mechanical bull.
Yeah, kinda.
Except for it actually has legs and just doesn't spin around in a circle. And the watchers are kind of like protectors of the herds of these creatures that I guess are essentially just grazing and doing resource gathering, and kind of seems like you are going and taking these creatures down for crafting materials and energy and resources. There's like zero story elements in this demo because I guess they just didn't want to spoil anything.
I think it's smart.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's almost like they almost dropped you in a sandbox, and it is the same area where he was playing. Because I tried going the way he went, but the demo had like an invisible wall. It's like, hey, if you don't turn around, we're going to restart the demo.
Yeah, so I think it was smart. I mean, obviously.
So I played through a few times because the first time I like raced through, and then I got sent back, and then the second time I realized I'm just in this small little box. Well, not a small box. And then I started playing with the different tools, like the radar, or I don't know what they call it, the vision that you can use to mark the enemies.
Right.
And one of the challenges was to take a stealth kill on one of the watchers. So if you sneak up on them, you can get a one-hit kill on them. You got a light attack, heavy attack, a dodge roll. You can crouch and sneak through all the plants and stuff that are around. And you can arrow them, flame arrows. There's metal arrows. I can't remember the exact names. So I was playing with all the different tools and systems. Got my stealth kills, did some messy combo fighting. Got my one-shot kills when you hit the watchers in their eye. I did notice there's a lot of aim assist because it is pretty difficult aiming the bow and arrow because it has that kind of effect where the camera zooms as you're pulling it,
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be super precise. I figured out the trick of just getting headshots really easy on my third time around. I stealthed one of them and then took out the other two in one shot. And then obviously, there's this weapon where you fire these ropes at the creature and basically tie them down to the ground.
Yeah, like attaches to them and anchors them to the ground.
Yeah,
which is
so
great.
when you anchor them to the ground, you can go over to them and use your staff and override their programming. And then basically becomes like a companion and you've got a mount now. And that was
Broadhead.
Yeah.
That was the name.
Nice.
Ha!
And that's essentially the gist of the demo. You get on, you can run around, and I guess they figure by the time you've done all this and gotten used to it, your demo is going to be done. But if you're really good at games, it doesn't take you that long. So I tried going up the hill where the village was, and I tried going in all kinds of different directions to try to see if I could see anything different. But there really was, that's all there was to it, was take down these watchers, get a broadhead, and then the demo, I guess they expected would be done. This game is going to be freaking awesome. From the little slice that I had, slice of pie, like the quarter of the crust with a little bit of filling.
Yeah,
this
man.
game feels really good. Looks really good.
I'm just super thrilled to see Guerrilla getting out of like, you know,
just the same old
that,
shit.
like the Killzone, not a rut, because I actually think that last
Shadowfall was
Killzone
great.
was a great game.
There was a couple level design issues, but
yeah, but like overall, man, what a great game it was. But this is just great to see them being able to create something new and something different and exciting, you know? And just like how often are we really seeing like these brand new IPs showing up now? It doesn't happen all that often anymore. Especially like clearly there's some money and stuff involved in this one, and it's exciting. It's really cool.
yeah, it was really cool. Definitely one of my highlights of the show for sure. That February can't come soon enough. The game looks cool. I didn't expect it to be a full open world, which is really exciting.
No, me neither. I kind of expected it to be, you know, sort of, I don't know, like I just kind of expected it to be
I expected it to be a pre-authored narrative, you know,
but
linear, not linear, but there's like villages, there's a big ass map. When you go to the map screen, you see this giant map.
Oh yeah, like when you zoom out, you take a look at everything. Like, holy cow!
In the demo,
it's a big world.
In the demo that they did, they fought some huge enemies that were like very complex to take down, and there's clearly multiple ways to do it. And literally, that isn't even the biggest enemy you can run into. It felt like
some massive enemies.
Felt like a full-on boss fight. It was really cool. I'm so excited for this game.
Yeah, I mean, it had a great showing at obviously E3 and other places where I think we all went, holy crap, that looks awesome. But after playing it and like seeing that it actually controls really well and the feel is really good, and it just, the way it handles and the way it looks and everything else, like I'm a lot more excited about it. That's for sure.
So that was our morning. And then after that, we had an appointment at Ubisoft, and we got to see South Park, The Fractured Butthole, For Honor, and Steep, which was freaking awesome. Everyone there was awesome. The devs demoing were awesome. Everybody all around, that was freaking wicked experience. Wicked portion of our day spent at Ubisoft.
Oh, yeah.
South Park, I got to do the Nautilus Rift.
Yeah, you did.
You probably saw some photos on Facebook. Some of my friends at work were already, and my mother-in-law were like, I saw your picture. That looked freaking hilarious. You look so funny. And I'm like, oh yeah, Dane posted that. I forgot about that. South Park is freaking awesome. If you played the other one, what is the first one's name?
Isn't that the Stick of Truth?
Stick of Truth, that's right. So that was a Lord of Rings-esque imaginary story time for the kids in South Park.
Right.
Fractured Butthole is a superhero version of their playtime, where they're all superheroes. Basically, Cartman's recruited the new kid, which is you, to join his team. And you were on a quest to get the thingamajig. I can't remember exactly. And if you remember from the first game, the new kid's powers revolve around farts. Right. There are multiple classes. You can combine classes. The class that I got to play was the Speedster.
Okay, interesting.
Let me see if I have to edit any of this stuff out.
Make sure we don't...
there's no embargo. So there's... Looks like... Take pictures... No capture. There are... It's really cool. It's the same RPG. They've made the mechanics a little different. There's a grid style system that shows up on the screen. It's not just your regular turn-based attack RPG game like the old one, where you're on one side and they're on the other side, and you've got front and back. This one has... The positioning has changed the whole fighting area into a grid. And you've got so many squares you can move up, down, left, right. And then your attacks have different effects, like area of effect, forward, all around you, up or down, and so forth. So you can push enemies around, plan out using AoEs by positioning the enemies yourself.
Almost sounds like it has a bit of Final Fantasy Tactics start of like turn-based sort of like combat going on.
Yeah, yes and no. It definitely has like that grid system, and it's still turn-based. It's got the little indicator showing you who's going to go next. It was really cool. It was so funny. I was laughing out loud like crazy. It looks like the freaking cartoon brought to life. The scenario that they just play out in the demo, I don't really want to ruin any of it because I imagine it's the opening of the final game. But man, that South Park is going to be good. The first game was fantastic. The first one had a little bit of jank, I would say. Right. Though the game outshined any of that jank because it was so much fun and it was hilarious. This one just seems a little more refined while delivering that like awesome South Park story.
Right.
I really like the fight mechanics, how they've changed it. Just seems much better. There's more strategy to it. There wasn't a lot of strategy. There wasn't a lot of strategy. I can't say it now. But I'm thinking about it.
Right.
There wasn't a lot to the fighting tactics in the first game.
Right. Okay.
And in this one, just they've refined that system. It's really cool. Unfortunately, the nozzles rift really stunk. Thank God, though, it did not smell like poop. I don't even know what it smelled like. It just smelled like, I don't want to smell this.
Right.
Like, it's not good.
It was funny because while you were doing it, we could definitely, like, it leaked out and we're catching little whiffs of it, that's for sure. Obviously not the full experience to you with the whole thing all over your face.
I had to sign a disclaimer to use the nozzleless rift. That if anything happened to me. I thought that was pretty funny.
You couldn't sue? So if the thing blew up in your face?
I guess so. I was really hoping I was going to end up getting superpowers like the Hulk or something. There'd be some freak accident.
From now on, your farts are super smelly.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your superpower. That's not
the power I wanted. So that was a wicked demo. We have capture of all the stuff we played. For Honor has an embargo, I think, to keep things simple.
Yes.
We'll talk about that next week.
We did play it.
We did play it.
We will totally talk about it next week to keep things simple.
Essentially, we just can't talk about a certain mode. But there's actually a closed beta that I got invited to. Did you get that email today?
I'd have to look, to be honest with you.
Man, you suck.
I haven't had a chance, man.
There's a closed beta that runs the next 2 or 3 weeks. I got an email. I'm assuming you would too. So we'll get to play more of that at home. I really liked what I played of that. That game wasn't really on my radar, and it's kind of on my radar now.
I agree with that.
And Dane, we were running long for time. Dane got to play Steep. I did not get to play it. We did also get some... Man, I really gotta I'll upload this shit. Steep definitely beat my expectations.
It's really pretty. 2, it's huge. It's a little bit like it's a very much a seamless world. You can connect to any point sort of on the mountain or mountains.
Open world extreme sports game.
Totally. And you can, on the fly, you can switch over to skis, snowboarding. What was the other one there? The wingsuit.
Squirrel suit. I call it
squirrel suit, wingsuit, whatever. So you can like switch between those. I feel like there's one more that I'm missing. Oh, was it the luge? Anyways, there's multiple, there's like 4 different extreme sports. You can actually switch between them depending on where you are on the mountain. Obviously certain areas you can totally switch to the wingsuit, but you're not going to be able to do much with it because you're not going to be able to get enough air. The snowboarding felt great. It felt very sort of reminiscent of, oh man, I'm totally blanking right now. This is terrible. It's cool. It's a huge mountain. You can take a helicopter more or less to the top, and you can ride. You can select different events that you want to do. Once that event is over, if you want, you can just keep riding.
Going down the mountain.
Just keep going down the mountain, which is super cool, and it's fun. And you can obviously, once the game is coming out or whatever, there's going to be a lot more things.
What controller did you have in your hand? An Xbox or PS4?
I want to say it was a PS4 controller.
Yeah, because the other terminal that was just sitting there was it was a PC.
Right.
Because there was an actual PC there, whereas I think you could see the PS4 at the one that you were playing. Yeah, it looked really cool. It looked like 1080, but you could go wherever you wanted. Well, like a much better version of 1080 snowboarding, clearly. There was obviously the curated courses, like you were saying, that you could see the flags on the map, and you could choose to go to those. But you could also make your own. You could create a route down the mountain and make that a challenge for your friends or for other people to try.
Yes. And also that wingsuit is hard.
I think you were doing a really hard course, but it was pretty crazy.
But it was
literally
hard.
I wasn't even playing, and I was leaning like left and right, like, oh my god.
It was fun. It was hard.
Yeah, it really. I was expecting I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting much. And
SSX. That's the name of the game that I was thinking about.
Yeah, SSX was the extreme.
Yeah, this feels kind of like the last SSX game where the mountain was big. You could go ride anywhere you wanted to.
But based in reality.
Yeah,
the
totally.
Insanity of the crazy tricks and fireworks when you touch your snowboard.
Yeah, there was none of that, which probably for the best. But no, that game felt really good. I feel like there hasn't been a good solid snowboard or extreme sports game in quite a while.
I don't think so.
So
in a while.
I feel like this is definitely filling an area that is in need of a game. And from what I've played so far, they're doing a good job of creating something that will, if you want, you can just kind of jump on the mountain, go screw around. If you want, you can also hit up some of the hard stuff and do the tricks and do the various, events, because there's going to be a mountain full of events. I did not ask if there was going to be multiple mountains where you could fly to various mountains.
I think there was different peaks, multiple peaks.
Yeah, in the demo that I saw, there was multiple peaks.
Yeah, so skis, wingsuits, snowboards, and paragliders.
Right. I did not try the paragliding.
So yeah, if you jumped off a cliff or you were doing the wingsuit, you could switch into paragliding, and then you could land and then put on your board or your skis, which is really neat.
It's a really cool idea. And the game was very pretty and ran surprisingly well. So
the PC, I think this PC version looked really nice.
Yes.
It wasn't on my radar. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. Cause everyone knows I'm not a sports guy, but it was cool.
If you've been waiting for a game like this very well might be the game that you've been waiting for a while.
There's a quality game there.
Yeah, exactly.
So then after that, I think we just hit up the show floor, and just kind of got our bearings, ran around and just looked at all kinds of random stuff.
So much stuff to see.
In no particular order. I'd have to go get my, I don't think I have my camera, because my camera is always the best reminder of what we did, because I'm always snapping pictures. I haven't even looked at our photos yet.
Oh, you know what? I totally went and played the new Battle Chasers.
You didn't do that the first day though?
Oh yeah, I did.
You did do that was that the Friday?
Oh dude. As soon as I saw that was on the floor, I had to have hands on.
I didn't realize that was the first day.
Maybe it was the second day. Either way, I played it very soon.
Yeah, that game looks freaking awesome.
So that game is being made by a bunch of guys from the ex Virgil Games, which are the guys that did
Darksiders.
Thank you. art styles being done by Joe Mad, who's a comic book artist, same guy that did the one for Darksiders as well as tons of different comic books and all kinds of other cool stuff. Unfortunately, I somehow missed him by about an hour, which really sucks. I was in the booth playing the game, and then he showed up like an hour afterwards, and was in the booth and stuff, and I didn't get a chance to get back there. And it looks like he kind of was wandering around the floor and stuff after that and didn't really spend too much time in the booth, but,
yeah, it's too bad you didn't get to see him.
Super cool. Needless to say though, I did get to meet his brother, who's also one of the co-founders of that studio and also one of the animators. He's the lead animator on the project. Super cool guy. Steve Madera. And that game is like, kind of like an old school RPG with gorgeous art. Turn-based. So you, like in the demo that we kind of got to play, you're sort of in a dungeon and you're able to, open doors and open chests and things like that. You can also see enemies on the screen. So, luckily it's not one of those just random encounters. You see the enemy. In the final build, you'll be able to, if you run up behind an enemy and catch them off guard, you'll have a bit of a bonus at the beginning.
Oh, so they didn't have that mechanic in there?
Yeah, it wasn't in the actual demo yet, but, I spoke to the guys there and they were kind of explaining some of the things that, will end up being in the game. They just hadn't been implemented quite yet in that demo build.
If you go to battlechasers.com, you can see images of this game.
Yeah.
The overworld, like Dane was saying, it's like a 3/4 perspective. Dungeons and overworld. And then the fighting, still 3D, turn-based, RPG.
Yeah.
Man, this game is beautiful.
It's a good game.
This is one of the best looking games. It's not like Uncharted 4, like going for realism. It's got a heavy comic book anime kind of style, but that Joe Mad style, if you know his work.
He's got his hands all over this.
It's just freaking gorgeous, and it moves so buttery smooth. And
the animation is so good.
The attacks just have such heft to them. And
one of the characters is this giant war golem, and you can do an attack that it's like the stomach punch. And like when he, wallops, one of the enemies, it's just, you feel the weight behind it. It feels so good. All in all, fairly difficult, which is what they're going for. Sort of that old school RPG feel, super excited. They're hoping to have it out by the end of the year. It was actually, I've talked about it on the show before. It was the first thing I've ever kickstarted. It was a Kickstarter game. And I was a fan of, it was based loosely on the comic book that Joe Mad did back in the late 90s. He made 9 issues and never finished it. He said he was supposed to make 13 and he hit 9, and I don't really know what happened, but he never finished it. So this now is being based off the same universe, same characters, and all that's going into it now, which is super exciting. So all the characters that you've probably, if you're a fan of that comic, Red Sonja, they're all in the game, which is super cool.
Do you know, I assume you're playing on a PC, right? You're playing with the PS4 controller or Xbox One controller?
I was playing on a PC using a Xbox 360 controller.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's PS4, Xbox One, and Windows, and it even says Mac OS here.
Yeah, I believe they're releasing it on Steam for Mac and Windows.
Oh,
so
cool.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I enjoyed watching you play that.
Super cool. I played through the demo.
So you're dying for your classical JRPG with a modern twist. I would say this is a nice throwback, but definitely new school as well.
Yes, and
there's
definitely one to watch.
The turn-based RPG mechanics. There's multiple systems. What do they call it? Was it overdrive or overcharge?
Yeah, there was a couple different systems. One of them was like when you attack an enemy, you gain overcharge, which becomes So then certain characters, well, each character has
their own meter.
An ability that they can burn off that overcharge or use that overcharge in a certain way, either in an attack or to, obviously if they're a support character, to help support or heal or something like that. And then there was also, every time your characters did an attack or did a move, they charged the big, we'll call it the overdrive bar for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you hit certain marks on that, each character also had these big attacks that they could do, using, and of course when they did that, it would take off so much of that bar.
Yeah.
So obviously the more, you could do more smaller attacks, but they're not going to be quite as effective as, the big attack. But of course there's that whole weight behind, do you wait? Or do you try and use some of the other stuff? So it kind of becomes that risk reward, right?
Yeah.
Do you hold off for the big attack, or do you kind of use some of it now to try and maybe get yourself out of a bad situation? Really cool battle system. It actually made a lot of sense. There was a good indicator of telling you like when your turn was going to happen and when your enemy's turns were going to happen. And depending on which attacks and stuff that you choose, changes where you are sort of in that, in the line.
They were aiming for the end of this year, right? So
that's what they said, yeah.
I'm looking, it's got a page on Steam, so I was looking at that.
Yeah.
You can't buy it on Steam. I wonder if you can kickstart it. The Kickstarter page is still there. So they got $850-something thousand.
Yeah.
Battle Chasers. Oh yeah, you can buy it here on the Battle Chasers on their actual store.
Yeah. So I was a Kickstarter. I also got the original 9 issues of the comic book on digital format, and when Joe Mad finishes the next ones, I will also get those. I also get a copy of the game. There's a few other things that I got in the one that I purchased. So exciting, though. Really cool.
$145.
I maybe spent that. I can't actually remember now. I know it was over $100.
Comic
though.
1 through 12. Yeah. Soundtrack. Oh wow, Jesus Christ! Ultimate
exciting
Collector's
stuff.
Edition. Whoa!
Hey, like I said,
$605.
Yeah, like any Kickstarter, it gets a little crazy, or got a little crazy, I should say. So, but yeah, so that is definitely, if you're into like that old school RPG, totally something to watch. Like I said, I was excited just because of the characters in the universe. Now I'm more excited that I've actually had an opportunity to play the game, because
it's freaking sweet.
It plays as well as it looks, which is super exciting. So, and it looks like there's a fairly meaty game in there as well.
If you go to their website, battlechasers.com, the website just plays video of the fighting, the battle system, and the overworld, and you can see it in motion. It's like, yeah, looks so good.
They got some killer artists and animators over there, that's for sure.
Yeah, no shit. That game was sweet. We also, I think we played a bunch of random shit that day as well.
Oh yeah,
I can't even remember everything. The next day, what was that? That was Friday?
Yeah, first day was Friday.
Friday night we went out. We went to the kind of funny, little party, Deus Ex Go party they had at the Hard Rock. Line up around the block.
Yeah. That was fun.
Running into my boys, G Miller, Tim Geddes, don't tell anyone, but I saw Colin there as well. He wasn't at PAX, but he was at PAX. I think he went there I think he showed up at their panel. But he wasn't there really for anything else. He was at a concert. So I ran into them actually at the hotel at the Sheraton and was hanging out, talking with them. And man, I gotta give shit to all the nerds out there. Greg, Colin, and Andrew, Garfap were the only people to recognize my Persona hoodie. And they all went like ape shit. Like they fucking loved it.
To be fair, I haven't played Persona 4, so...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Nerds recognize I was wearing a dope-ass hoodie. Garfap was like, oh my god, I'm ordering that when I get home. Because he had known or seen it online before and just was, hadn't
on the fence about
quite
it.
Pulled the trigger, but when he saw it, he wanted it. But it was pretty sweet they recognized it. And I was hanging out with them at the bar for a little bit. BSing, it's really cool. Greg Miller is freaking part of the Kind of Funny Empire, huge internet personality, streamer, YouTuber. It's really cool. I seem to run into him at every PAX, and he always remembers who I am, and we always have cool conversations, and I really feel like, man, if I lived in San Francisco, we'd be like buddies, and I would be on their shows. I still have to get him on our show. I've been meaning to get him on our podcast. One day that will happen. So yeah, we went to the Kind of Funny panel or party around the block.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Free poutine. We
ate some pretend poutine, and
we made ridiculous amounts of poutine. It was self-serve. I don't think that was a very good idea.
No, probably not.
I ate a lot
because we had poutine for dinner.
Yeah, a lot of it. That was kind of cool. Saw the guys again there, and then I don't know what we did after. I think we were pretty tired and called it a night. Next day we went to Nintendo. Now, I was late to the appointment because I was taking photos of cosplayers. Besides certain modes, I can't remember everything that we're not allowed to talk about. Was there any other embargo stuff that you can remember, or was there not? Was it just the modes or stages that we unlocked she didn't want us to talk about?
Yeah, there was a few things that we saw that she kind of didn't really want us to talk about.
Okay.
And the specifics of some of the like mini games that we played, she was kind of requesting that we,
So we played Paper Mario Color Splash on the Wii U.
Which that was a game that I was not really thinking much about. We let
our
buddy Mark,
because he said he really likes Paper Mario, and we're like, whatever.
He's also sort of he's a bit more of a hardcore RPG guy. That game is really pretty, and I'm a lot more interested in playing it now that we've actually seen it.
Awesome.
Like, it's on a Wii U, and I'm going like, how the hell does this look better than some games on PS4 and Xbox One? And it's just like Nintendo, they really do know how to take what they have and utilize it to the full extent. Mm-hmm. That is exactly what's happening there. Like, their art style is phenomenal. And it looks so crisp. And,
it's razor sharp.
Beautiful.
It looks so good on the TV there that they were demoing. That's coming out October 7th. If you played the Paper Mario games, it's that 3D side-scrolling / RPG adventure quests, so forth. The enemies are on the stage, and if you hit them or they run into you, that initiates a battle. In this one, you collect paint and use the paint to fill cards up to use as attacks.
It's kind of cool. And like, you're sort of painting the world almost. Like, it's
as you go.
Yeah.
And there's these really cool thing cards is what they're called. And essentially they're like insane. Like,
oh man, some of those are crazy hilarious.
You would basically compare it to a summon from Final Fantasy. It's too bad we didn't. I wasn't there to give my memory card because I would have loved the capture of this stuff. But
some of that stuff was hilarious.
The thing cards are just out of this world. They're just ridiculous. They're so funny. They're very heavily Japanese game show inspired.
In an awesome way.
Overkill attacks that you unleash on your enemies. This game looks wicked. It was not on my radar at all. But this game looks really cool.
I sort of feel like if you own a Wii U, this might be, obviously outside of Zelda, this might be sort of that last game that you pick up and go like, yeah, this is, a great thing to play on the Wii U. If of course that's assuming it's sort of your style of game, because I understand it won't, kind of be for everyone. It's kind of that weird sort of hybrid of like platformer mixed with an RPG. So
yeah, it was fun. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was
that
neat.
was a neat demo. That game is definitely on my radar for sure now.
Absolutely.
We also played the what was it? The Mario Party
On the 3DS.
What is it? Star Rush.
It was a lot of fun.
It was cool. We played.
I feel like if I was a young, kid still in high school or wherever, I would totally have that, and me and all my friends at lunchtime would totally play that,
4
and it
players,
would be great.
This seems like a really good version of Mario Party. The only downside to this is I think you got to have 4 friends to really make it worthwhile.
Are you saying you don't have 4 friends?
You don't need 4 friends to have the game because they actually have an eShop version of the game you could download and get full functionality for the people who don't own the game, as long as someone in your group has the game.
Which is a really cool thing to do. That is really
cool. You can get the full game
That's
experience. Awesome. You can do the download play, but it's limited. So I would suggest if you know one person that has this, that you suggest your buddies download that eShop version so you can get the full experience. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. The different boards, different modes. It's just too bad. I don't think I have 3 other people with 3DSs that would make this very easy to play.
I know, that's kind of where I'm at as well. Like, obviously.
But it was an awesome game. We had so much fun. And you know who won. That's right. It's your boy.
I thought Mark won.
No, I won. It was very close. Fine. It was between me and the girl giving the demo, which I already forgot her name. And that was cool. That was it started out as disappointment because we walked in the door and we were expecting Zelda and there's no Zelda.
We were all hoping to play Zelda.
And then I cried. And then the other big disappointment in Nintendo is they didn't have Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is honestly as stupid as it sounds with all the Pokemon craze and me playing the last Pokemon game.
Yeah, that was super surprising because it comes out so soon too.
November.
Like to be totally fair, Nintendo's booth was very much lackluster this year. There was not a whole lot in the way of content in their booth. Like they had some Yokai Watch 2 stuff.
Yokai. What is it? Oh my god, the names of this. There's 2 games that are doing the Pokemon kind of thing. And it's freaking hilarious.
It's Yokai Watch 2 something and Yokai Watch 2 something
Bony
else.
Spirits and Fleshy Souls. Like,
right.
What?
It sounds like a bad porno name.
Bony Spirits. We're gonna Bony Spirits and Fleshy Souls.
I don't know what the hell they were thinking there. Whatever.
And they had the Dragon Quest remakes. And they had like all this Pokemon Sun, Moon, banners, signs, the starter cutouts.
I know, you think that they were you could play the game, but no.
There's a big table where you can pre-order the game and they give you a poster. But that's about it. So it was a little disappointing. They weren't in their usual spot. They actually had a really small booth.
Yeah, probably because of the fact that they didn't have anything to put in their booth.
Yeah, it really sucked. I really wanted it. At the very least, I was hoping that was going to be there. I was so disappointed. But yeah. I was surprised with, the Paper Mario color splash looks pretty cool.
It really does.
Aside from that, we obviously roamed around the floor some more, played some other random demos, and then we went to, we brute forced our way into a Square Enix meeting. I was really tired at this point, and I don't know, now that I'm home, I really regret that I didn't stick around. I'm kind of really annoyed that I didn't stick around now. Because I missed out on you guys playing Final Fantasy 15 for a good hour plus.
Yeah, we were supposed to play for an hour. It ended up being about an hour and a half.
Dragon Quest Builders, World of Final Fantasy. And there was a Kingdom Hearts game, but did you guys even play that one or no?
I briefly touched the Kingdom Hearts. It's Kingdom Hearts. If you like Kingdom Hearts, this is Kingdom Hearts. Was it 2.8? So this is 2.8. So I didn't spend too much time in there just because I felt like this is a Kingdom Hearts game. We sort of, if you played Kingdom Hearts 2, this is a slight expansion on that, but there's already been, 3 or 4 games called Kingdom Hearts 2 point something or other. So I played some World of Final Fantasy. It feels like an old school Final Fantasy game. It feels like a super crisp, like Final Fantasy VII almost a little bit. It has the feel of the game is very reminiscent of that.
Yeah, I think they're playing heavily in nostalgia with that.
Yeah. It's very much, there are, random encounters. There's an overworld. There's obviously hub worlds where you can run around in the cities and things like that. You can go into the dungeons, run around in the dungeons. You sort of start off as like a kid, if you will, and then you kind of grow in the game as you play. It was a little bit like Final Fantasy Light. Not saying that was like that it was dumbed down or anything. It was a little bit streamlined. It was fun though. It was really cool. I spent about 25 minutes sort of poking around in that. But to be honest, the one that I played the most was actually Dragon Quest Builders. I spent the majority of I had about an hour and a half demo on that station. And, yeah, that game is,
it's scarily
addicting.
Before you go on, do you know World of Final Fantasy is coming out for the Vita as well?
I'm a lot more interested now.
Yeah, PlayStation 4 and the Vita.
I feel like that game would actually
October
work
25th.
Almost better on the Vita. Because you could, I don't know. That's cool. I did not actually realize that. I did know obviously it was on the PS4 because that's where I was playing it.
It's not like we saw a single Vita on the show floor.
No, I don't think I did actually. But yeah, no, Dragon Quest Builders, that game was surprisingly addictive. It's fun. It's kind of like EverQuest
Minecraft.
It's like Minecraft with a purpose. You kind of get these in-game like quests. So there's kind of characters that sort of give you these things like, hey, can you do this or can you build that? And you go gather the resources and you build whatever it is that they sort of asked you to build. And then you kind of come across new recipes to build the various things. It was a lot of fun. I can actually see myself playing way too much of that. Like honestly, it was simple, but yet I feel like you could do a lot of really cool things in that game. And yeah, it kind of surprised me. I was not really expecting to, I don't know, I expected that to kind of be the game that I was like, whatever, you build some stuff and whatever. But no, they weaved a story into it. There's some light attack elements. It's in 3D. It looks so much better than Minecraft. So your eyes aren't bleeding the entire time you're playing it. The character is kind of likable. There's, like I said, there's sort of an overarching sort of story and a purpose as a reason why you're there and you're doing what you're doing, which is cool. But obviously if you want, you can totally just go build a city or go build whatever the hell you want. Cause, that capability is in the game. One of the things that I really did like was that you could kind of get these, blueprints and you can actually put the blueprint on the ground and it just gives you a way that, kind of like a Lego. When you're building a Lego, it gives you that sort of outline so you know where to put things, so you go, okay, well, I need to put walls here. There needs to be a door here. There needs to be, I need to put a fireplace there. And then when you're all done, it's like, da-da, you're completed that. And, but it's just, it kind of gives you something to shoot for. And it's not just like, here, build me a house. And you're like, okay, cool. Well, what is that supposed to look like? No, really, it was a bit of a surprise game for me. I didn't really anticipate, liking it. I'm not a big Minecraft guy. To me, it's just, there's a whole lot of doing things for no real purpose in Minecraft. Mm-hmm. But in that, it was a lot of fun. And like I said, I could kind of see myself picking that up and I could see it being a great game to sort of mindlessly run around and build some stuff. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it now. So there you go. That was my time with...
I thought it looked neat because I really like Minecraft, and the thing I didn't like about Minecraft, I like the freedom, but the thing I didn't like is I do like having a purpose.
Yeah, me too.
What I'm doing.
That's kind of exactly how I feel about Minecraft. So yeah, after our time was up there, Mark and I at this point went and played Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, you did.
That game. Okay. Full. It's all out there for you all, but I dislike the main characters of this game greatly. I really do. They're like whiny and they're not, I don't know, there's just something about them that bugs the hell out of me. That being said, the gameplay is great.
It's beautiful.
It's really pretty. We were playing on early builds, so you can kind of take this with as much grain of salt as you want. We were playing it on the Xbox One. There was a PS4 literally one console over, so we were literally playing them side by side. And I did feel that playing them side by side, the PlayStation 4 version looked significantly better. But again, we're still a ways away from, release, and there's a lot of tweaking and whatnot that can happen between now and then. But at this very moment, I would say you definitely want to pick up the PS4 version of that game. That being said, it's very pretty. It plays really well. The combat seems like it's really cool, and there's quite a depth to it, but it's also a new thing for Final Fantasy, which is great. For the first time, you're not running around getting into random battles, which is also great for a Final Fantasy game because, random encounters have always been a thing. So that's a really nice change. You can actually see the enemies on the screen before you kind of get involved with beating the snot out of each other. Obviously, like I said, the demo wasn't overly long. It was the first sort of bit of the game. If you kind of look it up, you'll probably be able to watch more or less whatever it was that we played. But overall, I went into that demo with my expectations being extremely low. Let's be honest, when was the last time a game has been in development for a very, very long time and has come out of development and been good? I don't think it's ever happened. So, yeah. That being said, I went into this kind of... And to be fair, I'm still a little bit...
skeptic.
Worried, I guess, would be the best term. But I'm a lot less worried than I was going into that demo. How's that?
Mm-hmm. It looked really cool. I wish I stuck around to play it myself. Mark is a huge Final Fantasy fan. Like, he plays Final Fantasy 14. And
he's a massive Final Fantasy fan.
He's a massive JRPG fan. He's a huge Japanese fan. He's been there a million times. I'm super jealous.
Yeah.
So this has been huge on his radar, and he came out super, super excited. The only complaint he had was he just felt that when you got in the car, that it moved too slow.
Which, again, we don't know if that's something
they've already said. I think even from that event, since PAX has ended, I swear I've already seen stories of stuff they're tweaking, and the car was mentioned as one of them. So this is clearly, they delayed it to add some fine touches. They talk about it's still optimization isn't done yet. There's a bunch of stuff they're working on, stabling out the frame rate, but man, the game looked wicked.
The game's got a really interesting, it's real time, but it's turn-based combat still. So you're able to run around, and the entire time the battle's happening, you're actually in control of a character, and you're running around the battle as that character. And it seems like you can attack with your regular attack with, whenever. But it seems like your special attacks and your abilities and, magic, things like that, are sort of on like a timer. So you can run around and do like regular attacks, but you can't just spam, your magic attacks and things like that. You gotta, like, those are sort of turn-based. So it seems like it's a really interesting sort of hybrid system that they've got going on. I've also read that the build that we were playing, it sounds like, and again, don't necessarily quote me on this.
I'm quoting you on this.
You son of a bitch. It sounds like there's going to be something that they're going to implement that will allow you to sort of pause the action and sort of make, sort of like preload decisions, almost like preload actions. So, if things get kind of too crazy in the heat of the battle, you can pause it and, sort of make some changes to things that are happening or whatever, and then kind of hit play again. So again, like, I did not see any of that in the game that we had been playing quite yet. But I remembered hearing rumors about something similar to that. So people that are kind of going like, oh man, it's not a turn-based RPG anymore. It is, but it isn't.
Yeah, what do they say? They're working on, I got a bunch of freaking paperwork from these events. It's the wait mode is what they call it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Not the final version. Main quest, subquests, optimization. All content. Where did I see that? I swear I wrote that in one of these things.
So, but no, really cool.
I swear I read it in here. Yeah, they call it the wait mode. I think that's where you can kind of pause.
Yeah.
Could be totally wrong,
but that game is totally back on my radar. It seems like they got that thing back on track, and it's looking like it's going to be pretty cool. I'm really hopeful. It's really pretty. Like, it is surprisingly pretty. Especially on the PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm honestly really curious to see how they're both going to turn out when they finally get released. Because like I said, currently there's a fairly significant difference between the two of them. The two builds, PS4 and Xbox One. That being said, like I said earlier, that could totally change between now and release. So, until they're released, don't quote me as being like, oh yeah, I heard this. So I'm just letting you know what I saw hands-on at this current time. So
yeah, it looked good.
Yeah.
And then, when was that? That was Saturday, right?
It was. Yeah.
Sunday morning, we went to the NVIDIA panel. They gave away, thousands of dollars of video cards. Unfortunately, none of us won anything. That was
so much stuff they gave away.
That was a shit show. We went back to the show and we're just running around doing random stuff. One of the things we did was we both played Hob, not at the same time because I played it Sunday and I think you were like jealous and had to go back. And I realized
that had been on my radar the whole weekend.
Yeah,
I just hadn't had a chance to play it
since last PAX, and I think. I totally budged in line. I went in the exit and just started playing and didn't even realize, which was really funny. And then after I reminded you of it, you're like, oh, I gotta play that. And this is from the Runic Games guys who did, what the heck is that RPG they do? Having a brain fart?
I'm totally blanking right now and I feel super bad about it.
God damn it.
I played so many games,
Runic Games.
As we both like Google it. Do.
Torchlight.
Yes.
Diablo game. So
Torchlight was great.
Yeah, Torchlight's awesome. So Hob is kind of like a Zelda, like. It's 3/4 perspective, is it? Or is it top down? It's kind of top down, not really.
I think 3/4 perspective would probably be the best way to describe it.
Beautiful 3D game.
Art style is phenomenal.
It's an action adventure, real time. Just like Zelda, you got a block, you've got special attacks, you got your sword attack, You can jump, evade, run, climb, all the while fighting enemies, solving puzzles in this really, really intriguing world.
Yeah, like your character has this giant gauntlet on one arm that, like, you know, has all kinds of neat abilities. One of the abilities is like a teleport. You can teleport sort of across the battlefield. You can attack with it. You also have like a sword that you can use to attack enemies with that as well. It's beautiful. One of the things that actually really caught me with that game was the music is really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the score in that game.
You awaken to a world in disarray and undercover your role as you explore stunning landscapes and repair the planet itself.
There you go.
Grapple, punch, and warp your way through the world. Open world. It is pre-authored, so handcrafted world. It's not randomized. Very tight controls. The combat was very tight. I really liked what I played. There was 2 demos. There was an overworld demo and then a dungeon demo.
Which is funny. You played the overworld demo, right?
And I completed the overworld dungeon, which had a few puzzles, a bunch of combat, and I'd say like a mini boss.
Yep.
And then essentially you unlock, I think, the entrance to that dungeon, where you played. If not, you may have played somewhere a little farther along.
Yeah, I totally played the dungeon. It was kind of like a series of, you know, various things with platforming and puzzles, with obviously some combat kind of strewn in. Really cool. Like, I'm super intrigued with the world and sort of what's going on in it. And
It's got a huge air of mystery.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the art style in that game is really cool because it's very, how do I even explain it? It's kind of blocky, but it's super crisp and very unique looking and just stunningly beautiful. It's all hand drawn backgrounds. It's all, you know, it's really cool. That's a game that's like kind of jumping on my radar, off my radar, on my radar, off my radar, sort of constantly. I think, you know, it sounds like I was talking to the developers. They were sort of pushing for like a 10, I think they said about 10, 14 hours, sort of playthrough, length wise, which at least to me sounds like a really nice length. Not overly huge, but not also like super short. Sit down in one, you know, game session and finish it. Yeah, game's cool, man. I'm really excited about it. I was playing it on PS4.
Yeah, I think it was PS4. Next year, they were saying.
Yeah, next year.
I doubt it. I'm going to guess summer at the earliest. Runic's really bad at delays. Torchlight 2 and 1 got delayed so many times.
That's true. I forgot about that.
But the game looks cool.
Yeah.
Definitely on my radar. And then we also played some Rick and Morty VR.
On the HTC Vive.
That was a pretty fun demo. I love Rick and Morty. I think I've talked about it on this show before. It is quite possibly the best television series ever. And they're making, Adult Swim is making a game. And you are, what are you? A clone? A creation of Rick's,
You're one of the Rick clones.
Is it a Rick clone? Okay.
Yeah, he initially is like, hey, here, you do my laundry and stuff. And you're like, screw that shit.
It's, it seems like a puzzle game. From what we played,
I feel like what I played was more of an experience than a game.
Yeah, it is going to be a game though. It's like being in an episode of Rick and Morty. It's got that, not OCD, that crazy all over the map humor. You're
for sure
traveling to a different dimension. You're playing with their Mr. Meeseys. It's the Mr. UCs, because they do what you do. They seem like a big part of the puzzle solving. You're in Rick's garage. You can pick up and play with any and all the gadgets that are lying around in there.
Or Trash's garage.
Yeah, Trash's garage. Kill the Meeseys.
May not have done.
Morty's there talking to you. Yeah, it was just a little experience, but they are making a full game, they're saying. I think it's just
this was
kind
like
of
a
to give
small
you an idea.
taste of the game.
They didn't have, it's clearly not coming out this year. They didn't say anything about date. It was definitely pretty fun though. Being in,
it was great.
I wish you could download that. I don't think you could.
I don't believe you can. A lot of fun.
But if you like Rick and Morty, it was pretty awesome. We also saw
VR,
we saw a bunch of the other games. Toe Jam and Earl was there.
Didn't play that.
No, we're just looking over people's shoulders.
Battle Chef was super cool
Battle
looking.
Chef looked neat. There was another.
Oh yeah, the Castlevania-esque looking one that we looked at.
Yeah,
what was that called?
I took a photo of it on my PC. Or on my camera, on my PC. On my camera, I can't remember the name. They had another really cool Castlevania-esque game. Man, that looked freaking awesome. And then, I played Gears of War 4, on PC.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
all
that.
Things.
Yeah.
It didn't look extraordinarily impressive. It seemed to be 60 frames a second. I was playing with a keyboard and mouse, and then I didn't like that because I'm used to playing Gears of War on a controller, so I went to controller. It wasn't a very amazing demo just because Gears is so gray and dark.
It was also just the same
but yeah,
sort of demo that we've already seen before with the windy level.
It was just more Gears. That game's, I'm sure, is going to be good. I didn't get to try the new Horde mode. That probably would have been a little more fun. It was definitely neat playing that on PC. We played Werewolf, the Werewolf Within, which is basically what you were saying, Mafia in Oculus.
Yeah.
That just seemed like a total waste of time.
The Werewolf, that was in VR on the Oculus at the Ubisoft booth.
Like, that's not is that a card game?
Well,
Mafia,
like,
is it a card game?
Mafia, well, like I said, like, there's essentially, Werewolf is essentially like a slightly modified version of Mafia. When I was a kid, we used to play Mafia with somebody would grab a deck of cards and we'd play Mafia. This is more or less just a slightly modified version of that. I mean, it was interesting. There was a bunch of players. We all put the headsets on. It's your classic one or two people are the werewolf. One person's, sort of the townspeople. Some of the people are other things. And the whole idea is that say you're trying to figure out who the werewolves are as the townsfolk, because that's who you want to sort of kill, essentially. And, obviously the werewolves are trying to not be werewolves, and they're trying to pretend that they're townspeople so that they don't die. And more or less, if the werewolves kill people at night, then, they win. And if the townspeople catch the werewolves, then they win. And it was just kind of weird because it all happened in VR. So you're sitting around and you could actually, in this case, you could just be playing an actual game of Mafia,
which would require no
werewolf
setup and no, you wouldn't need $10,000 in equipment to play it.
Totally. That being said,
weird.
This was also an interesting thing because, like, maybe you have friends around the world and you all want to get together, and you do have the hardware. It was kind of a neat idea that you could all get together
online. It might be fun. It would probably be a better experience if we had 5 of our friends with us.
I'm pretty sure that game will have to have online multiplayer because otherwise they're gonna sell 5 copies.
Yeah. I don't.
It was interesting.
Strange. I don't know where that idea came from, or is it just a proof of concept or demo or what? It really doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think is the best way to put it. It had a weird, because it's weird. Like there's the characters are you're talking and you're hearing people on a microphone. You're talking to, in our case, strangers, telling them like, oh yeah, I'm the werewolf, or no, I'm not the werewolf. Trying to either, get killed or not get killed kind of a thing.
That was
it was
funny.
interesting.
You won the first game. That was awesome for lying. I'm the werewolf. You're not.
Yeah. No, it was like I said, it was a weird sort of thing. I don't see myself buying that.
I just feel like it's just totally unnecessary.
Yeah. But I feel like if it was one of those things where it was like a free game that they were giving away or something, and you had a bunch of friends with Oculuses and you didn't live close together, it would be kind of a fun thing to do.
There was a lot of familiar games that we saw, like Dead Rising 4 looked really freaking cool. Didn't play it. I was watching over his shoulder. It looks like Dead Rising 4. Better than 3 because the frame rate looked much better because the frame rate dipped quite a bit in Dead Rising 3.
It definitely
there was
looks
like
like
a
it runs
shitload
better.
of enemies on the screen and it was like buttery smooth, so it looks like they've gotten with being their second game on these systems, obviously a little bit better.
Right.
Apparently the Resident Evil 7 demo was the same thing you can download off the PSN, someone was telling me. I don't know if that's true. That's just what someone said. So we never got in there.
I know for a fact that the Resident Evil 7 demo, they were doing it in VR. So it might have been the same demo, but they were showing it off in VR at the show.
Yeah.
Because I saw in one of the rooms that they were doing it in, and I could see like all the VR and the
you
headset
had
and
to
everything
line
else.
up and get tickets in the morning, and tickets for any of those types of demos that were gone within 10 minutes. I was like,
sold
good luck.
out instantly.
And I tried pulling some strings, but they're like, sorry,
Yeah.
we're not doing that. And I'm like, you suck, but well, I didn't say that, but so we didn't get to try that, but I don't think there was really anything to try. Arc.
Yeah, I'm not overly disappointed
There was
there.
a bunch of new big games with big booths in the corners. Some strange games that just don't look very good. I don't even remember their names. What else?
We also went to a very cool Dishonored 2 event.
Oh yeah. Before you get into that, shit, you just made me forget what I want to talk about. PAX.
Some big booths in the corner that we didn't care about.
No, before that even, Resident Evil 7, Dead Rising 4, Forza Horizon was there, Forge was there. People were lining up to play Battlefield 1. I was so freaking confused. Like,
that one was weird
is
because
wrong with you people?
The beta was open during the show, so people could. I mean, I guess if they're players that don't own an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 or even a PC that can run it. But it was weird that there was a huge lineup for people to play Battlefield 1 when
which
it was
is an open beta.
Literally an
before
open
we
beta
left,
at the time.
We talked about it while we were driving down there.
Yeah.
You could also in the Bethesda booth, they weren't taking appointments either. So it was first come, first serve, and the lineups were like, Jesus, hours long. They had Doom and Fallout 4 on the Vive. And I snuck in to go look at them. They did let me into the rooms to see people play it. Because I was like, hey, I just want to check it out. I don't need to play it. I just want to see it. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. So I went in and looked at both of those, which were pretty cool. Fallout 4 and VR. I don't know how it works with moving around because it's the teleport mechanic. Either that's going to make the game very unbalanced because you can teleport around and your enemies might have a very hard time hitting you. But that would be really cool to check out, like to be in that world. Like these are real games, and then like Doom, like these are full games. They're aiming for next year on 5. That's going to be really neat to see how those turn out. At the NVIDIA panel, we saw the new Arc, Scorched Earth DLC.
Which is strange that a game that hasn't actually been released yet is coming out with DLC. Paid DLC, I should say.
And we played a bunch of indies and Indie Mega Booth. I think we're going to have to come up with, jog the memory cells and look at some photos and some of that stuff. That's the majority of it. We played a bunch more. When I look at my photos, it'll jog my memory. Those are the most memorable experiences and things that we saw.
Sort of popped out at us.
Oh, and the Dishonored 2 thing. We'll go back to that. On Sunday night, we went to, I think everyone at PAX went to this event. It had free crappy food and free beer. or free
Good beer.
alcohol. So that was
good beer.
that was good, but the food was shit. And it was like a mystery game going on, and it was at this museum. For
there was sort of like a
ships.
mystery treasure hunt aspect to it.
And you got entered into a draw to win a PS4, and I think you won maybe a copy of the game if you got so far in the... Basically, they had all these people acting and role-playing around the docks, and they were pretending they were like the people in Dishonored, and there was this mystery you're trying to solve where the Duke was or something. And there was people playing games in stalls, and if you played against a gambler, you would get a dice, and then you take the dice to this other guy, and he gives you an elixir, and then you get the elixir and go give it to another guy. And
it's kind of like a giant fetch quest.
Mm-hmm, and then, and then you get a cup, and then you get all 3 items, and then you can go past this guard, and then you go meet the main guy, and then you completed it. A lot of people are really choked because they didn't have very many items. Not very many people got to... Basically, the people who got there first pretty much just won by default, because apparently it wasn't very difficult to figure it out. You just had to be there first and get the ball rolling and get the first item, because they wouldn't give you the other items without the first one. Right. And they just didn't have very many. And I guess that's probably on purpose, because they obviously don't have a million systems to give away. But I think... Man, there were so many. I don't know if they anticipated that many people being there.
I guarantee you they did not anticipate that many people there.
But there was literally, I don't even know. I want to say like easily a couple thousand people.
Well, like we were there an hour early. We were there an hour early,
and I didn't even want to go early.
No, so we were there an hour early, and there was probably... The lineup was huge. There must have been 1,500 people in the lineup in front of us. And then when we finally got in, once they opened the doors and we managed to get in, because of course, you know, because there's alcohol and things like that, they got to make sure that, you know, the right people get bracelets so that they can drink alcohol, and the people that, you know, can't. So it's a bit of a slow process, and obviously they didn't just want to like let everyone in. It was
a gong show.
I mean, man, we got in, we grabbed drinks, we, you know, I don't even know. Like we went to, they did a showing of the demo. They did 2 showings of the demo in a theater. And we got out of our demo at 9, and there was still people in line coming, like trying to get into the event. Yeah,
like as long as the lineup where we started.
Oh yeah, like it was insane. Like there was, I don't even know how many people showed up for that event. It was open to the public as well as they...
Oh yeah, it wasn't just PAX, that's true.
Yeah. It was crazy. There was a lot. There's a lot
it
of
was
people
a little.
there.
I feel like it was a little mismanaged, but
I think.
And the whole print your T-shirt thing was kind of dumb. They should have just been giving out T-shirts. That would have been a lot better.
So that was the other aspect.
You had to wait in a lineup for like at least half an hour to get a dumb T-shirt. You had to wait half an hour to get a drink. You had to wait half an hour to get on these boats and try and do this puzzle. In the end, the demo they showed was footage that no one's seen before. That game looks freaking awesome.
Yeah, that game looks great.
And Mark was giving us both shit because he wanted to go. He dragged us to this event essentially.
Yeah, he really did.
Like we didn't want to go. We're like, I don't want to go, but he dragged us, and he really liked Dishonored 1, and we know it's a good game. It's just got on our pile of shame. Watching this demo of Dishonored 2, I was like, holy crap, this game looks fantastic. It's like BioShock with amazing combat and an evolution of that really crazy world storytelling that has been missing, because like we haven't had a BioShock in eons, and Infinite was probably quite a bit disappointing. So as a huge injustice, I haven't played the first one, so guess what? I started playing the first one.
Really?
Yeah, I own it on PC, so I'm like, hey, this is like the remastered 1080p 60 version, so it's going to be the best version out there, so I'm going to start playing it. I started playing it like 2 days ago.
That's funny. I've downloaded it. I haven't. I've re-downloaded it from my Steam. I haven't started playing it again.
I downloaded it in anticipation of playing it again, and it's sitting on my desktop. But I actually got to starting it.
Start playing it. So cool. We'll have to talk about that next week.
We're running long here. I guess there wasn't a lot of news. I don't care to talk about this. I'm deleting it from our outline. Basically, the two big pieces of news besides all the PAX stuff, is Sony had their event that we were talking about yesterday. The PlayStation meeting 2016, where they introduced the PlayStation Slim, PlayStation 4 Slim, and then they finally announced PlayStation 4 Pro. 4K HDR, non-4K Blu-ray playing, updated, more powerful PlayStation 4 system.
Yeah.
Now, the internet reacted.
Okay.
This system is coming in at the launch price of the PS4. So basically, this is replacing the PS4 as we know it, and the Slim is now your new low-cost option, which is pretty cool. So
they've essentially dropped $100 off the price of the PlayStation 4.
So if you're coming in,
the Slim is now $299 in the United States, and the new PlayStation 4 Pro is now $399 in the United States.
$499 here.
So of course, add $100 onto both of those if you live in Canada.
I think it's less on the Slim. It's $379, but they got some good bundles. If you don't have a PS4, they got like an Uncharted 4 Slim bundle. So the
PlayStation 4 Pro, it's kind of an interesting thing. Everyone
was butthurt, but I'm going to just say this. It's the number one selling item on Amazon.com.
Oh, I'm sure it is. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we're more than doubling the horsepower under the hood of the PlayStation 4.
It was a really boring presentation. I want to say that up front.
I actually didn't get a chance to watch the actual presentation.
I watched it. I was on my lunch break.
Right.
And it was just really boring. Andrew House and Mark Cerny were out there, and it was just like, it wasn't very exciting. It was lacking a lot of oomph that I feel like it should have had. There was zero technical information. It's just, HDR is amazing. 4K is amazing. This system will give you all that stuff. And then it's forward compatible. And we're bringing HDR to the old PlayStation, so every one of our 45 plus million gamers out there will get HDR on the existing PlayStation 4, that's a pretty cool announcement.
Right.
If you're buying a PS4 today, cool, you're getting the more powerful one. If you don't want to spend the money, don't have a 4K TV, or you don't notice shit like playing games at 60 frames per second, you could just save $100 and get the Slim. They showed these wicked demos, which make no sense for anyone at home because you're not watching it on a 4K TV. Unless you have a 4K TV, you may have been able to see the quality of these demos. It's very hard to explain to people the difference in quality that you're going to see with the system because, for one, you need the TV. You need the box and you need the games. None of those exist. Yep. This is something you have to see, kind of like VR. And the thing I didn't like, I want a more powerful PS4, but I want to know, okay, are all old PS4 games now, if you don't have a 4K TV, are you going to get 1080p 60 on all your games? To me, that's worth it. Because right now, a lot of the games on PS4 limp along at 1080p 30. But if I get 60 frames per second with the HDR and some added visuals at 1080p, that's pretty cool.
Well, it sounds to me, according to what Sony was saying,
but they didn't really say shit.
That developers can totally patch in that support. So moving forward, it's going to be up to the developers. Some of them are obviously, the first party developers. Naughty Dog and stuff has already said the new, Uncharted 4 moving forward. They're going to patch in HDR support, and if you have a PlayStation 4 Pro, that, you know, you will see significantly better frame rates. They didn't specifically say 60 frames a second, but, you know, I mean, I think that if they can manage to lock it at 60 versus 30, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind they would. This, to me, was an interesting move because clearly you don't just build a console, you know, in 6 months or whatever. You know, so obviously this thing's been, you know, sort of in the oven for a while. That being said, I'm really surprised because I feel like this thing is a real half-baked idea. Looking at like sort of the specs, if you will, some of the specs are great. We're almost doubling the shader throughput. So the original PlayStation 4 has about 1.84 teraflops of shader throughput, which is pretty good, especially considering the visuals that we're already seeing with that. The new PlayStation 4 Pro is going to be running about 4.2 teraflops. So we're looking at more than double that speed. So they've increased the GPU cores, almost doubled them. Actually, they have doubled them. So essentially they've doubled the GPU cores. They've increased the clock speed on the processors. But the weird thing is that, for example, the system memory bandwidth for the PlayStation Pro stays exactly the same. The Blu-ray player in it stays exactly the same.
Yeah, which people are pretty upset about.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a thought on that other than the fact that, like, to me, it doesn't necessarily matter because I don't own a 4K TV. That being said, I'm looking at it and I just can't help but feel like, what were they thinking?
Well, it seems like they were trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. And then Microsoft got word of it and they're like, well, you're going to do that. We're totally going to make an even more powerful system.
Well, and then this is the thing. Like, so now I feel like we're getting into this weird, you know, is every 2 years now, are we going to have these guys with a pissing match?
3 years
like
since
who's right. So is every 3 years from now we're going to have, you know, the new PlayStation 4 Pro Plus and the new Xbox One Project whatever. You know, like, I don't know. Like, to me, you know, that's only going to get us so far. Like, because ultimately the big problem is that game development isn't a 1 year or even a 2 year thing sometimes. Like, games take a long time to make. You know, so suddenly by moving to this type of thing, we're suddenly looking at, you know, what comes out on what and what's it going to have. And I don't know. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this. It's a weird thing. Like, in this case, I actually think that Microsoft I think they might be onto something. They're adding another year. So they're going to be at 4 years when Project Scorpio comes out. But it's sort of a full thing. Like, it's not just this like weird, not even a half step, you know, which I think Sony did with the PlayStation 4 Pro, but it's a full step forward, you know, like they're saying like, look, you know, it's going to have obviously HDR support. It's going to have 4K support. It's going to have HDMI 2.0, you know, because we know it's going to have all those things because the Xbox One S already has those things. Mm-hmm. You know, that to me was kind of the big surprise is that the Xbox One S has come out. It's got HDR. It's got 4K Blu-ray support, you know, and the rest of the hardware is more or less the same. They've slightly increased it a little bit.
Yeah, not enough
just so that
really
it can
make a difference.
Yeah, not really enough to matter. And then you've got Sony not sort of following suit in their sort of pro version. That being said, Sony is also keeping the same price point. Whereas Microsoft has already started telling people, you know, look, the Xbox One Project Scorpio, it's a premium product. So they're already sort of telling people like, look, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, so Xbox One S compared to PlayStation 4 Pro, the Xbox One S is obviously an inferior product. There's no upgrade besides you can say, okay, it does Blu-ray 4K or whatever. But
like maybe you're that guy that you started buying, your Blu-rays on 4K.
I think that's a shrinking market, and I think Sony just drew the line. We're like, you know what? We're not really moving any of these discs to make the cost of our system $50 more.
Yeah. It's a weird step for me. Like I looked at it and I kind of went like, how did that not happen though? Like,
it doesn't make sense.
You're Sony. You're a license holder. You're one of the people that created freaking Blu-ray.
It doesn't make sense, but the cost, obviously, they know the numbers. I don't know. Yeah. I see a bunch of 4K Blu-rays sitting on shelves, and it looks like they have never even moved one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a total chicken and egg situation.
And and they know
people are buying these 4K TVs, but nobody's buying 4K Blu-ray. No,
but everyone has the 4K TVs, are streaming Netflix and YouTube,
right?
And they see that, they know that it's connected to the internet. It's phoning home and telling them this information. So,
I also think that you got to remember
that's probably why the Xbox One S isn't any cheaper.
Yeah.
Because they ponied up for that drive. If Xbox was smart, they would have just freaking done the Slim without any of this 4K shit and dropped the price.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because, like, I think that a lot of people buy
4K is still a good year or two away. We've had this discussion a few times.
Oh yeah,
I want to see
it's
one.
Still too early.
I want to see one.
They're pushing it.
The thing that really just disappointed me is I wanted more technical stuff. I wanted more. Yeah, all of your old games are going to be 60 frames per second if you don't have 4K TV. Oh, by the way, the games that play at 4K are going to be 4K 30. Because there's no way in hell it's going to play 4K 60. And now is it 4K 30, but it's just an up-resed version of the 1080p 60? Like, how are they getting there? There's some tricks here, because this thing clearly doesn't have the horsepower to run this stuff.
And this is the thing that bothered me is they're pushing 4K. They're all like, everybody seems to be on this 4K bandwagon. When like what, maybe 10% of the population has a 4K TV.
I bet
maybe
it's even less than that.
I'm sure. I'm sure it is.
From what I heard from a Steam survey that was online, Steam does these hardware surveys, and you can actually look up this information. The amount of people that are gaming in 4K on PC, and mind you, these are the bleeding edge people that
they're the hardcore of the hardcores.
No limits and are doing the most crazy things, pushing the technology forward. It was single digits the amount of people playing 4K PC gaming.
Yeah.
Now you have to voluntarily.
That does not surprise me.
You have to voluntarily take part in these surveys. But let's be honest, the people who have kick-ass hardware definitely want to go like, look at me, I've got like, top 100 PC in the world.
Yeah. No, I think this is like my point though, is that they went with this weird half step that you can't actually do 4K with it properly. Like it doesn't have the power. So then what is it? Like, I think
but the
what I'm actually asking is sort of like...
people were playing at the event were in 4K.
Sure.
But 4K what? 4K 30, 4K 60, 1080p upscale. There's no... This is my point. No fucking technical information.
No. Light on
it really doesn't matter.
Technical.
It doesn't matter. It matters to someone like me and you, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. It does 4K. That's the bottom line to the person who buys the TV at Best Buy and Costco, who's just picking up a PlayStation today. Hey, I have a 4K TV. There's no 4K TV by any of my providers in town. How do I get 4K on my TV? PlayStation 4 Pro. Video streaming and games. Everything. All under one thing. Like that's what they're kind of devising here. And they're pushing the old stock away and then basically putting a nail in the coffin with the lower cost PS4, but it's slim, but it's such a weird thing. It's weird.
For Sony, it makes sense though, right? They sell TVs.
Does. They sell TVs.
So for them, they're like, they want 4K to become a thing faster. So they can sell TVs.
Guaranteed.
And then they can sell you a PlayStation 4 Pro to go with your new TV.
Guaranteed they're going to bundle TVs with this. I don't know. But
I'm always amazed. Like I look at my parents, for example, they had an HD TV, and I even bought them a Blu-ray player for Christmas one year, and yet, they almost entirely watched satellite TV that was not even in HD.
Yeah, my parents, I got them a Blu-ray player, I got them an Apple TV. I think the only time they ever use that stuff is when we're there, because they have no idea how to turn it on. But clearly, to be honest, our parents are now they're the minority now.
Yeah. I guess
there's a lot of old people, but the people spending money and buying this stuff is people our age and the millennials and the ones below them, that are buying all this stuff, and they're suckers for this tech.
Yeah. I just think that there's also a huge amount of people that go out and they need a new TV or they want a new TV.
I want a new
4K is the new hotness, so they buy it.
I want a new TV.
And then they don't watch anything in 4K. No. They're like, "Oh yeah, we went and we bought a new TV. It's great. It's the 4Ks. It's got all the Ks." And you're like, "Oh wow, what are you watching on that? Did you buy an Ultra HD, Blu-ray player to go along with it? Did you upgrade your package?" And they're like, "Well, no, we're just watching TV."
So you're watching standard def. So why did you buy it?
Why did you buy a 4K TV then?
Oh, it's because what the sales guy said is what we should get.
And I think that there's a surprising amount of people out there that do that.
No, absolutely. Too, there's tons of people who do that.
Which is scary when you think about it. So yeah, it was a weird thing. I don't know. I looked at it and I don't know. I expected it to at least have an Ultra HD player in it. I guess to at least compete with the S.
Definitely really weird.
That to me would have sort of made sense, I think. But I mean, obviously, again, it's also the fact that it's literally going to keep the same price.
Yeah,
so that might also have something to do with it.
Yeah, people are very butthurt about it, but at the same time, it is
kind of getting twice the power for the same amount of money.
This isn't really for the person who already has a PS4. Unless you have a 4K TV, then this is for you. Because if you have a 4K TV, you're sitting in front of your TV right now with your current PS4 and going, "Oh man, I wish this was in 4K."
Yeah.
And that's exactly what but it's a small subset of the people out there. I just wish it was more technical. I wish there was more excitement. I just feel like the event was a flop. It wasn't very exciting. It didn't seem to have an air of excitement. I don't know if the ball, on this had started moving too early that they couldn't react to Xbox's, we're going to do the Scorpio and it's going to be fucking 6 teraflops. It's going to be way more powerful.
It's going to be so
and then
fast.
It's like, shit, we already...
Well, right now, that's the thing. It's going to be assuming Scorpio comes out as what it is, it's going to be 40% faster than the PlayStation 4 Pro. I mean, yes, it's going to be another year from now, which is fine.
Probably just not going to matter, but...
Yeah, but at the same time, that's a huge discrepancy. But if there's something else that we've noticed, it's that developers, especially on a platform that's got the most people on it, which is clearly the PlayStation 4 right now, developers are going to aim for that platform. They're not going to aim for the Xbox One Project Scorpio just because it has better,
it's like
horsepower,
the PS2 and the original Xbox.
Totally. The original Xbox was significantly faster than the PlayStation 2.
But no one cared.
Very few times
it didn't matter. It didn't have an install base. So
exactly.
At the same time, maybe it kind of looks like Sony's shooting themselves in the foot. But now that you say it like that, maybe Microsoft's shooting themselves in the foot. Because in another year, they're going to move another 10 million PS4s. And everyone looks at the Xbox One as if it's already dead. So who's going to want to buy the Scorpio for 500 American or 600 American, regardless of what it is? Because if they bring it in at the same price, that'll be a freaking miracle. I don't think. Yeah,
well, I mean, like I said, they've already been talking about it being a premium product, right? They've already come out and said, like, hey, this Project Scorpio is going to be then more
Sony's
money.
Maybe right. It's just an incremental upgrade that you don't need to have. It doesn't matter to you. And if you have a 4K TV, it's just like, cool, I get this stuff now. And then the next one is going to be, and we've said this before, but it was just a shitty event. I wanted more technical information. That's what left me disappointed.
Yeah, and my other questions are,
upscaling,
how is it going to work with VR? Like, is it going to help with VR? Are VR games going to run faster?
It's going to make a better VR experience, but that's all they said. Everything was wishy-washy, and nothing was definitive. So,
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know.
And I'm sure we'll learn more as it gets closer to launch too. So
I don't know. I may or may not have pre-ordered one.
I'm sure you did.
I'm an idiot.
So that was kind of the Sony event.
And then the other big news.
The new controller, that's a thing.
Yeah,
we already kind of talked about it.
They updated the camera for no good reason.
Yeah.
They have a new head. They did some minor changes to the headset as well. I guess they're like, oh, we'll just update everything while we're at it.
Yeah. So there you go. New peripherals.
The big thing that happened was the other big thing. iPhone 7 was unveiled. Yay.
Yep.
Finally waterproof.
Yep. IP67, so not quite the same as like
the
Galaxy S and stuff, which is IP68.
Or the Note 7 series that will blow up in your face. But it looks like a slick device. Just
to be honest, I personally thought that it was like the best looking Apple device in quite a while.
No,
it
looks awesome, but again, we're at this point with freaking handhelds where it's just iterative, like just better camera, little bit bigger screen or better screen, and a little slight CPU bump. And there's nothing really left to like really blow our socks off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're an Apple person, man, I definitely want this device. It looks pretty fucking cool.
Man.
The real story out of this event was they had freaking Nintendo on stage at an Apple event. Shareholders must have been like going crazy. They went crazy. They went crazy with Pokemon Go. This must have freaking sent them flying. Iwata is probably rolling in his grave.
Yeah, Miyamoto came out on stage at an Apple event
and announced a unique Mario game. This was not on my radar. Out this holiday, new Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Run, on iOS. They played it on stage. They demonstrated some modes.
It looks pretty cool.
It's like an endless runner, but it's not an endless runner. It's kind of like the Rayman games on mobile, where he keeps going forward unless he hits a wall, he turns around and you jump and so forth.
Yeah, you essentially tap the screen and jump,
it's
and
just,
Mario runs forward.
You can play it one hand while eating a cheeseburger.
Oh, I do like that.
That's what Miyamoto was demonstrating. Or you could be eating an apple. It was really funny.
Nintendo also did say we do intend to release the game on Android devices at some point in the future.
Time, so that's just crazy. Apple or Nintendo on Apple on iPhone. That's pretty huge. The game looks really cool. I really wish it was coming to Android at the same time because it looks neat.
Yeah, it does actually look really cool. It's got kind of that Super Mario, the new Super Mario look to it.
Yeah.
The graphics kind of look like that. So.
And I'm going to say, my friends, that is it for news. There might have been some other stories, but this is a long episode. We talked about a lot of shit. I'm sure some bells will be rung and we'll remember some of the cool stuff we did. Other little indie type stuff we played at PAX. And we'll be back with some regular news and what you've been playing next week.
Well, actually, probably not next week. We're probably going to have to take the next couple weeks off because I'm going to be in Hawaii.
You get a really long episode because, I forgot. Dane's going to Hawaii to get married.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to take a week off unless I record something by myself or magically find a guest while you're gone.
Yeah, so I'll be gone next week and the following week. So...
Hey, so not only is this episode going to be late, we're also not going to have one or two.
Unfortunately, it'll be two, because I will literally 2 weeks from when we normally record, which was normally Wednesdays, I will be, aka the 21st, I will actually be getting married that night. Yeah. So there you go.
I will have to come up with something, I think.
And my wife will probably murder me if I try to take some time off while I'm in Hawaii to, record a podcast while I'm supposed to be on vacation. So, but who knows? We'll see if maybe something happens. You never know.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's going to be awesome. You have a good time, my friend.
Yeah.
And I'll be shopping for a new coast. I mean, have an awesome time in Hawaii. I'm super jealous. You can follow me on Twitter at Rick F. No KRICF.
You can always hit me up on Twitter at Dane Cody at DAYNECODY.
I will try and get our PAX photos and videos and stuff up in the next couple weeks, probably to keep everyone happy while we're not recording. And remember to like our Facebook page, review us on iTunes, and thank you very much for listening. Share us with your friends, and until next week, I'm going to say we're out.
Be back soon.
Peace.